Halloween, the one night a year when adults pretend to be vampires, kids commit legal theft, and someone inevitably sets something on fire for ambiance. 1. The Candy Bandit of Long Island. In 2013, a man in Long Island decided trick-or-treating was for amateurs. He dressed in full zombie makeup, grabbed a pillowcase, and went door to door. Not to collect candy, but to steal it from kids. Witnesses described a groaning undead man sprinting down the street with a bag of Snickers like it was the apocalypse. Police eventually caught him hiding behind a Dunkin' Donuts dumpster, still in full costume. When asked why, he simply said, "I thought zombies were supposed to eat." The judge agreed, just not chocolate. 2. The Haunted House That Fought Back. A Halloween attraction in Ohio accidentally called 911 on itself, repeatedly. The haunted house used motion-triggered screams, chainsaw sounds, and a fog machine wired through a smart system. Unfortunately, someone connected the system to the building's security panic button. So every time an actor jumped out yelling, "Boo!" dispatchers got another emergency call. After the 7th ghost attack, police shut it down, saying, "The real horror was the paperwork." 3. The Man Who Sued a Ghost. In 2007, a homeowner in Oregon tried to turn his basement into a haunted house. After a few days of spooky activity, guests claimed they'd been touched by something unseen. Instead of admitting he'd installed a faulty air vent, the man filed a lawsuit against the ghost, technically naming it as John Doe Spectre. The court dismissed the case, stating that the defendant failed to appear in corporeal form. Somewhere out there, a ghost is still winning by default. 4. The Pumpkin Riot of 2014. Every college town has that one Halloween that becomes local legend. For Keene, New Hampshire, it was 2014, the year students turned their pumpkin festival into a full-blown riot. Thousands of attendees, fueled by beer and poor decision-making, began hurling pumpkins at cars, police, and each other. News outlets called it the Great Gourd Uprising. Damage exceeded $90,000. When asked why they did it, one student shrugged and said, "It was just the vibe." Historians still classify it as the dumbest rebellion since the Boston Tea Party. 5. The Trick-or-Treat Heist. A woman in Los Angeles tried to save money on candy by leaving a note on her porch that read, "Please take one." When she returned home, the candy bowl and her entire porch furniture set were gone. Security footage showed a man reading the note, nodding respectfully, and then calmly loading everything into his truck. When caught, he argued that she didn't specify what one was. Technically, he's not wrong. Spiritually, he's an icon of Halloween logic. 6. The Suburban Chainsaw Massacre. In 2019, a haunted hayride in Pennsylvania thought it'd be funny if actors wielded real chainsaws, with the blades removed, of course. One actor forgot that last step. The result? A mild panic, several screaming teenagers, and a local news headline that read, "Haunted Hayride Becomes Too Real." Nobody was seriously hurt, but the attraction's Yelp page became a literary masterpiece of one-star trauma. My favorite review: 5 minutes in, and my therapy bills are already higher than the ticket price. 7. The Costume Contest Catastrophe. At a Florida bar's annual Halloween bash, a man dressed as a giant plug and his girlfriend as a wall outlet. A cute couple's costume, until someone spilled beer on them. The liquid hit the metal contacts, creating a spectacular mini electrical fireball. Luckily, no one was seriously injured, but the couple did win hottest costume. The bartender's quote summed it up perfectly. They came to party and literally sparked joy. 8. The Candy Corn Catapult. In 2018, a group of engineers in Illinois decided to scientifically prove candy corn's worth by building a homemade catapult to launch it 200 feet. It worked, until someone loaded a full bag instead of a single kernel. The launcher snapped, flinging shards of sugary shrapnel into a nearby minivan. The driver later told police, "I thought it was hail, but it smelled like diabetes." The group's GoFundMe for repairs was titled, "The Candy Corn Strikes Back." 9. The Corn Maze That Needed Air Support. A Massachusetts farm built a legendary Halloween corn maze, so legendary that a family called 911 after getting lost for 2 hours, 10 yards from the exit. Darkness fell, the toddler cried. The dad declared they'd conserve rations, and the mom said she heard coyotes. It was a distant dog. Police arrived with a K9 unit, used a bullhorn, and guided them out in 3 minutes. The kicker? The maze had maps printed on the admission wristbands. The officer's report politely noted the family exited, in good health and some embarrassment. The farm now advertises, fun for all ages, emergency services not included. 10. The fog machine that summoned the fire department. A DIY haunted garage in Phoenix wanted thick, horror movie fog on the cheap. They grabbed the smoke canisters from a hardware store, except they weren't party foggers. They were industrial bug fumigators. Within minutes, trick-or-treaters were coughing, neighbors were dialing 911, and 2 firefighters defeated Dracula by ventilating the garage. The host tried to spin it. It's interactive. You escape the plague. The city disagreed and issued a fine. On the bright side, that block didn't see a mosquito for 8 months. 11. The skeleton. The HOA declared too festive. In a suburb with rules longer than the U.S. tax code, a homeowner put a 12-foot skeleton on his lawn. Tasteful, regal, majestic. The HOA said it violated the Decor Balance Clause and demanded aesthetically neutral holiday decor. So the homeowner complied by dressing the skeleton in a beige cardigan, khakis, and a laminated name tag that read aesthetically neutral holiday decor. Neighbors left flowers. Kids saluted on the way to school. The HOA sent a second notice. The skeleton got glasses and a briefcase. By Thanksgiving, he was promoted to regional manager. 12. The candy swap meltdown. 2 brothers completed a flawless night of candy acquisition, then launched the traditional living room trade. One traded a full-size bar for a mystery grab bag from a pillowcase. Inside, 9 orange taffies, 3 pennies, a cough drop, and a packet of instant yeast. Betrayal echoed through the subdivision. The parents called it a teachable moment in market risk. The kid called a lawyer, his aunt. An arbitration was held at the kitchen table. Verdict: restitution equal to 1 king-size Snickers and a lifetime ban on blind bag transactions after 9 p.m. And just when you think it can't get dumber, Halloween always finds a shovel. 13. The wrong address costume raid. A group of friends in Hollywood, dressed as burglars, striped shirts, beanies, cartoon sacks with dollar signs, planned a prank photo at their buddy's porch. GPS dropped them 1 street early. They posed, jiggled a fake break-in, and the actual homeowner activated their doorbell siren that shouts, "Burglary in progress." Police rolled up to find 6 grown adults in novelty masks yelling, "We're actors." The homeowner said, "Me too," and pointed at the security cameras. No arrests, but the citation description was pure art. Ill-conceived theatricality, October edition. 14. The pumpkin spice fireball. A cafe tried a festive trick, a cinnamon flame sprinkle over lattes during their Halloween night pop-up. Great on TikTok, terrible near an overhead heater. One enthusiastic barista launched a cinnamon cloud into the heat source and whoomph, brief fireball. Nobody injured, eyebrows lightly humbled, but the smoke alarm evacuated a line of witches, pirates, and 1 disappointed Jedi. The manager posted a sign, "We do not set coffee on fire anymore. Please enjoy room temperature whimsy." 15. The vampire who donated blood. A charity drive in Austin scheduled a Halloween night bloodmobile outside a bar. A man in an elaborate vampire costume, contacts, fangs, the whole opera, stumbled out and, in a beautiful loop of irony, insisted on donating. Staff said, "Maybe tomorrow?" He returned with water, crackers, and a solemn pledge to give back what I have taken. He passed the screening, donated a pint, and walked away triumphant, until his cape got caught in the bus door, and he did the slowest, most dignified pratfall in medical history. The nurse said it best. He came for theatrics. He left a hero. And some hemoglobin. 16. The haunted house that was just a house. A couple in Kansas put a haunted mansion, $10 entry sign on their porch as a joke. But word spread fast. By 9 p.m., over 80 strangers were wandering through their home, convinced it was a real attraction. The owners tried to play along until one guy asked, "Is the kitchen part of the tour?" and opened their fridge. Someone stole a half-eaten cheesecake. Another left a Yelp review calling it disappointingly realistic. Police had to clear the property. The citation? Unauthorized amusement facility. The wife's quote to reporters, "Next year, we're charging for parking." 17. The skeleton proposal. That backfired. A man in Tennessee thought it'd be romantic and spooky to propose inside a haunted corn maze. He hid the ring inside a plastic skull prop, planning to reveal it when his girlfriend screamed. Unfortunately, another group came through first. They found the skull, pocketed the ring, and moved on. The man had to make a public plea on local news titled, "Whoever found the engagement skull, please return it." The ring was eventually returned, but the girlfriend said yes with one condition: no more creative ideas. 18. The Graveyard Movie Night. A small-town community center in Iowa hosted an outdoor screening of Ghostbusters in the cemetery. It was supposed to be charming and atmospheric. Then a fog rolled in, the projector flickered, and half the audience sprinted screaming after the film's ghost trap sound effect synced perfectly with lightning hitting the old church bell. Panic, popcorn, and 2 sprained ankles later, the mayor said, "Next year, maybe the community center parking lot." The cemetery residents, to be fair, did not complain. 19. The Costume So Real. It got arrested. A guy in Texas showed up to a party dressed as a convict in handcuffs, complete with a fake prison jumpsuit marked Texas Depth of Corrections. The problem? He stopped for gas on the way there. Someone saw him pumping fuel in cuffs, assumed a fugitive situation, and called 911. Within minutes, 6 squad cars surrounded the gas station. The man had to convince officers he wasn't escaping prison, just escaping fashion sense. The cops eventually let him go, but not before asking, "At least tell us you didn't drive here." 20. The Candy That Called the Cops. In 2015, a Michigan woman bit into what she thought was a caramel apple and immediately chipped a tooth on something metal. Turns out her neighbor had used hot glue instead of caramel to attach the stick, because the candy kept sliding. She didn't realize the glue was industrial strength and contained a tiny nail for reinforcement. The police report described it as a preventable Halloween tragedy involving home improvement supplies. The woman later joked, "The real treat was the dental insurance." And just when you think Halloween's hit rock bottom, the floor creaks. And the basement's even dumber. 21. The Ghost Hunter Who Got Stuck in a Chimney. Every neighborhood has that one guy who insists ghosts are real. In 2019, one of them decided to cleanse an abandoned house using sage and a Bluetooth speaker playing Gregorian chants. When the wind blew the front door shut, he panicked and tried to escape up the chimney. He got wedged halfway, upside down, for nearly 6 hours until firefighters pulled him out like a haunted cork. Local news called it "Exorcism Ends in Extraction." The man told reporters he was 90% sure something grabbed his foot. Firefighters confirmed gravity. 22. The Pumpkin Parade Sabotage. In Vermont, an elementary school held a pumpkin carving parade. Adorable. Until one parent, tired of the overly competitive spirit, secretly replaced the candles inside each pumpkin with firecrackers. The grand finale turned into a rapid-fire chain reaction of exploding gourds. Teachers screamed, kids cheered, and one dad proudly shouted, "It's festive artillery!" No injuries, just a scorched sidewalk and a lifetime ban from PTA events. The local paper headline, "Pumpkin Spice and Detonation." 23. The Yard Display That Caused a Traffic Jam. A Dallas homeowner built a hyper-realistic crash scene as a Halloween display. Upturned car, fake smoke, a body half through the windshield, a CPR dummy in jeans, and blinking LED police lights he bought online. Instagram loved it. Commuters did not. Drivers slammed brakes. Neighbors called 911, and within minutes, real patrol cars boxed in the block like a movie set. The homeowner showed officers his receipt for party cop strobes, which did not help. Police gently explained that impersonating emergency equipment, even unintentionally, counts. He downgraded the scene to post-car wash mishap, replacing the dummy with a scarecrow holding a "My Bad" sign. The HOA later ruled decor must be spooky but not actionable. The dummy retired to the garage, where it continues to scare the owner every time he reaches for the lawn fertilizer. 24. The Witch Who Forgot About Sprinklers. A fitness studio hosted Witches Ride at Midnight, a costumed bike parade ending with a sparkler send-off in the parking lot. Someone scheduled the outdoor lights and forgot about the automatic sprinklers. At the stroke of midnight, 200 witches raised sparklers to the sky, and the irrigation system answered with a biblical monsoon. Sparklers fizzled, witch hats collapsed, makeup became interpretive watercolor. One participant tried to spin it. "It's like a cleansing ritual." Another shouted, "This broom was not designed for water operations." The organizers posted a soggy group photo titled Aqua Coven. The studio's marketing accidentally struck gold. Sign-ups tripled the next week for witch-themed cardio, which is just Zumba with better capes and a strict no-sprinkler clause. 25. The Doorbell Camera Seance. A suburban teen coven attempted a backyard seance but wanted evidence, so they streamed it to the family's doorbell camera. The mysterious orb that appeared on screen, a moth the size of a potato chip. They shrieked, the chat exploded, and the algorithm pushed the clip to half the neighborhood. 10 minutes later, curious kids and two dads with camping chairs showed up at the sidewalk to watch paranormal television, live through a Ring app. When the spirit started battering the lens, one dad calmly said, "That ghost has wings." The seance ended when the app sent a notification. Motion detected moth. The teens pivoted into content creators, uploading Paranorb, a compilation of bugs at 2 a.m. It did numbers. The veil between worlds remains intact. The doorbell battery does not. 26. The costume that broke the elevator. At a high-rise Halloween party, a guy arrived in a 9-foot inflatable T-Rex suit with built-in fan and tail like a battering ram. He wedged into the elevator sideways. Tail hit the control panel, and the fan's power pack clipped the emergency stop. Doors sealed, alarms chirped, and 7 passengers spent 18 minutes trapped with a squeaking dinosaur, apologizing through a plastic snout. Someone suggested deflating the suit. He tried and emerged like a butterfly of regret from a nylon chrysalis. When the fire crew pried the doors, the T-Rex shuffled out, carrying his own skin like a sad parade float. Building management posted a Halloween memo the next morning. Costumes welcome, industrial ventilation systems attached to bodies, less welcome. You'd think that's the peak. Halloween says, "Hold my plastic cauldron." 27. The Trunk or Treat Tire Inferno. A church hosted Trunk or Treat in the parking lot. Open hatches, candy bowls, cute themes. One dad built a mini hellscape in his SUV. Red lights, dry ice, and a space heater to keep fog dramatic. Dry ice mist plus a tipped fog juice bottle plus a heating element equals sizzling tire and a spirited puff of smoke that turned into a small rubber fire. Volunteers formed a candy bucket brigade. Ineffective. Someone yelled, "Use the extinguisher," and a scout did, perfectly. Damage: 1 tire, 1 ego, 24 traumatized Tootsie Rolls. The pastor's recap at Sunday service. We will henceforth celebrate the light triumphing over darkness, especially in the tire area. 28. The Zombie Run. That met the jogging club. A city park scheduled a 5K zombie run with actors who chase participants. A local jogging club, unaware, launched their weekly night run on the same trail wearing reflective vests and serene smiles. Collision course. From the bushes, zombies. From the path, startled accountants in New Balance. Chaos bloomed. Screams, sprints. One heroic dad yelling, "I've trained for this," then pulling a hamstring. Organizers waved glow sticks like air traffic controllers separating planes. After triage, ice packs and pride, both groups finished together for free hot cider. The jogging club later admitted personal bests all around. Turns out, being hunted by interns in face paint is excellent for your split times. 29. The Fog That Stole the Wedding. A couple picked Halloween for a moody micro-wedding at a rental hall. The venue next door hosted a haunted walkthrough with an industrial fogger on a timer. At You May Kiss the Bride, the shared HVAC delivered a gothic avalanche of fog into the ceremony. Grandma vanished first, then the officiant. The photographer captured silhouettes like a Victorian ghost print. The couple laughed, guests coughed, and the DJ leaned into it, cueing Unchained melody like it was a spectral slow dance. The venue comped the bar, the haunted house sent apology cupcakes iced black, and the photos went viral under "We accidentally married in the shadow realm." Honestly, 10 out of 10 ambiance. 30. The Door-to-Door Candy Audit. A hyper-organized neighbor did a quality control patrol, clipboard in hand, inspecting candy bowls for compliance with fun-size norms. He weighed bars on a kitchen scale, rejected taffy with a stern "October is not for jaw work," and left citations on houses with raisins. Someone followed filming. The block turned it into a game, baiting him with decoy bowls of unshelled peanuts, loose spaghetti, and one haunted kale chip. He returned with a calculator and the confidence of a small-town auditor. The homeowner association intervened, not to stop him, but to appoint him acting candy commissioner, immediately stripping all powers. He now issues laminated certificates. Neighborhood treats meet minimum delight. It's petty. It's perfect. It's Halloween in a spreadsheet. 31. The candy drone disaster. A dad in Colorado decided trick-or-treating was too inefficient. So, being an engineer and a show-off, he built a drone candy delivery system. The plan? Hover over kids, release treats like festive air support. It worked beautifully, for about 30 seconds. Then the bag of candy tangled in the propellers, the drone spun like a possessed piñata, and fired miniature chocolate missiles at everyone within 20 feet. One fun-sized Snickers allegedly dented a mailbox. A news anchor later described it as a technological advance in airborne idiocy. The FAA briefly looked into it, not for safety, but because, quote, "We've never had to classify a drone strike made of Kit Kats." 32. The haunted hay bale inferno. In 2020, a Nebraska farmer built a hay bale maze the size of a football field. It was perfect, until he added decorative jack-o'-lanterns with real candles. You can already smell the outcome. Within minutes, a light breeze turned spooky ambiance into a biblical fireball visible from the next county. Firefighters arrived to find 50-foot flames, a melted plastic skeleton still smiling, and one apologetic farmer holding a garden hose like a man trying to put out the sun. His statement to the local paper was both humble and poetic. Turns. Outhaze flammable. 33. The trick-or-treating grand theft auto. A teenager in Florida decided to drive his friends from house to house in his mom's electric golf cart, which sounds harmless, until he forgot to charge it. Halfway through, it stalled in the middle of an intersection. Instead of pushing it home, the group borrowed another golf cart from a nearby country club, leaving a trail of Reese's cups and panic. Police tracked them down using the world's easiest clues: the license plate, the costumes, and the fact that one kid live-streamed the entire escape on Instagram. The headline the next day read, "Children of the Cornhole Tournament apprehended after low-speed chase." 34. The Cemetery Rave of 2006. In New Orleans, someone had the bright idea to hold a secret Halloween rave in an old above-ground cemetery. The flyer said, "Dance with the dead." The problem? They actually did. Over 300 people showed up with glow sticks, a DJ generator, and zero respect for zoning laws. When police arrived, they found ravers grinding between tombs, a guy dressed as a skeleton trying to sell Red Bull, and one very offended groundskeeper yelling, "You're literally standing on a judge." The event was shut down, but legend says you can still hear faint bass lines near midnight, mostly from the guy who hid his speaker in a mausoleum and never got it back. 35. The Haunted House Health Code Violation. A small-town diner decided to boost business with a haunted restaurant night. They replaced their servers with zombie waiters, served red-dyed spaghetti as intestines, and dimmed the lights to crypt level. Unfortunately, one prop, a fog machine, was placed under a smoke detector, which triggered the sprinkler system mid-meal. Within seconds, tables were soaked, customers screamed, and tomato sauce mixed with fake blood into what one reviewer called a Tarantino baptism. The health inspector showed up the next day and asked, "Was this intentional performance art?" The owner sighed and said, "It was until the ceiling collapsed. They now serve normal food again. Mostly." 36. The Vampire Who Got a DUI at Dawn. In 2018, police in Salem, yes, that's Salem, pulled over a man dressed as a vampire at 6 a.m. His reason for speeding? Trying to make it home before sunrise. Officers described him as pale, fanged, and moderately polite. He blew a 0.12 and reportedly hissed when they turned on their flashlights. The local paper couldn't resist. Vampire charged with driving under the influence of spirits. His defense? Technically, I wasn't alive behind the wheel. The judge didn't bite. 37. The Toddler Candy Smuggling Ring. A mom in Ohio thought her kid's Halloween bucket was unusually heavy. Turns out, her 3-year-old had been borrowing candy from every porch bowl in the neighborhood. Not 1 or 2 pieces, entire bags. He used his stroller as a smuggling vehicle, and even had decoy candy on top to hide the loot. By the end of the night, he'd amassed over 6 pounds of contraband sugar. When confronted, he said, "Sharing is scary." The neighbors called him the Al Capone of candy, and honestly, he earned it. 38. The Haunted Doll. Standoff, a woman in Wisconsin bought a haunted doll online to prank her husband. She placed it on the couch every morning before he woke up, pretending it had moved on its own. For 2 weeks, he thought their house was cursed. Then one night, he decided to end it by trapping the doll in the oven. He forgot to turn it off afterward. 10 minutes later, smoke alarms blared. The plastic demon melted, and their fire insurance agent got the weirdest claim of his career. The report listed cause of incident as attempted exorcism failed spectacularly. 39. The Candy Corn Protest. In 2021, a group of high schoolers in Minnesota organized a candy corn ban petition, claiming the candy was an insult to sugar. To make their point, they dumped 10 pounds of it into the principal's mailbox. Unfortunately, a raccoon found it first, scattered it across the parking lot, and attracted more raccoons. By morning, the school had an actual raccoon riot. The janitor described it as a furry orange and yellow apocalypse. The students were suspended, but also given A's for creativity. 40. The Trick-or-Treat Bank Robbery. Only in Florida, a man dressed as a pirate decided to rob a bank on Halloween, assuming no one would take it seriously. He didn't wear a mask because pirates don't. When the teller asked for ID, he handed over his real driver's license to make it seem official. He walked out with Maine $200 and was caught 10 minutes later buying rum at a gas station, still wearing the plastic sword. The police report began, "Suspect was easily identified due to excessive swagger." 41. The Cornfield Cult of 2017. Police in Kansas responded to reports of chanting in a cornfield. They arrived to find 12 college students in robes, standing in a circle around a Bluetooth speaker blasting Thriller. Turns out they weren't summoning spirits. They were filming a TikTok parody of a satanic ritual. Unfortunately, they forgot to tell the farmer, who saw lights flickering in his field and fired a warning shot. No one was hurt, but the police chief summed it up. If you plan to fake a ritual sacrifice, maybe don't do it on someone else's property at 2 a.m. The students apologized by buying the farmer a pumpkin pie. 42. The Werewolf Wedding Crashers. A newlywed couple in Arizona planned their dream outdoor wedding on Halloween. Mid-ceremony, a nearby haunted forest attraction released its actors early for a break. Right through the venue, guests screamed as 5 people in werewolf costumes burst out of the woods and ran between the pews. Grandma fainted. The officiant dropped his Bible, and the best man yelled, "Keep filming!" The footage went viral with the caption, "Real marriage, unreal timing." The venue later offered free use of their non-haunted gazebo, which the couple declined, saying, "Honestly, we couldn't have planned it better." 43. The Candy Cannon Catastrophe. In 2022, a dad in Texas decided to make trick-or-treating more efficient by building a homemade candy cannon from a leaf blower and PVC pipe. His goal? Launch fun-sized bars across the yard into waiting bags. His result? A 60 Mayfier Tootsie Roll to a neighbor's forehead. The first launch was majestic. The second took out a plastic skeleton. The third was declared a neighborhood emergency. EMTs were called, not for injury, but because everyone was laughing too hard to breathe. His wife now displays the cannon in the garage under a warning label, "Licensed for dumb use only." 44. The Invisible Fence Ghost Hunt. A group of paranormal investigators brought high-tech EMF sensors to explore a haunted farmhouse. The readings went crazy every time they approached the property's edge. They thought they'd found spectral energy, until the homeowner reminded them about the dog's invisible fence. They had, in essence, spent 4 hours documenting a Labrador's Wi-Fi collar. Their follow-up video, Haunted by PetSmart, still ranks as the most unintentionally educational ghost hunt on YouTube. 45. The Pumpkin Spice Exorcism. In Portland, a yoga studio held a pumpkin spice cleansing ritual, where participants were supposed to chant affirmations while inhaling the aroma of cinnamon candles. Someone swapped the soy candles for industrial pumpkin-scented wax melts, triggering the smoke detector, which activated the fire sprinklers. A dozen yogis slipped on pumpkin-scented puddles as the instructor yelled, "Stay grounded." Local news called it a tragedy in yoga pants. The studio now sticks to regular breathing exercises and non-flammable enlightenment. 46. The Great Candy Economy Collapse. At a private school in Illinois, 6th graders created a Halloween candy stock market, trading Kit Kats and Skittles as currency. It started innocent until a group cornered the market on Reese's Cups and began demanding interest on trades. Teachers intervened when one student tried to mortgage his Lunchables. The principal dissolved the candy cartel, declaring, "This school runs on education, not chocolate futures." The kids called him the Candy Federal Reserve. Somewhere, Milton Friedman is smiling. 47. The Pumpkin Boat Regatta. In Maine, a group of adults hollowed out 1,000-pound pumpkins to race across a lake. It went well for the first 10 minutes. Then the pumpkins started sinking one by one, trapping contestants waist-deep in orange mush. Rescue boats had to fish out half a dozen gourd captains who refused to abandon ship, yelling, "I'll go down with my pumpkin." The local news headline summed it up: "Great gourd disaster. Leaves participants squashed but unbowed." The tradition continues every year because, apparently, lessons are optional. 48. The town that banned Halloween and regretted it immediately. A small town in Pennsylvania once tried to outlaw Halloween, claiming it was a distraction from moral values. The following year, residents celebrated in secret. Kids trick-or-treated dressed as freedom. Adults threw underground costume parties called Not Halloween. The mayor's house got TP'd with a banner reading, "You can't legislate fun." Within 48 hours, the ban was quietly repealed. The next year's parade theme? The return of the living smart. So there you have it, 48 moments proving that every October logic takes a vacation, and humanity puts on a mask it can't quite take off. Some call it Halloween. I call it natural selection in a costume. Tell me, which of these disasters deserves a lifetime supply of candy corn and a public apology from common sense? Drop your vote below, if your hands aren't still covered in pumpkin guts.